want to bring the boys in before you do a sound test?
Do I even need the sound test?
I don't know. Keep talking.
Okay, I'm going to tell you a story about a man named Edward McGinty.
That's an interesting name. What did Edward McGinty do?
Well, my first instinct is to say that he was a groundskeeper. Does that sound like an interesting thing? Does that suit his name, do you think?
Yeah, actually, it's suspiciously appropriate. It's almost too good to. It could only exist in fiction.
It must. I feel like it. Do you think it's suspiciously familiar? Because that's an actual thing. Now I gotta look it up.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that was a real person. You are a little quiet, but you're good and clear.
Am I quiet? Is it so right now? Am I quiet?
You're sounding good now. How
Okay,
am I?
I might have been getting a little bit away from the mic
Why do you gotta stay so far away from me?
because I was heading over to the other monitor to look up Ed McGinty.
Fucking Ed.
I look at my monitors like I'm 65 years old.
I had to switch up my microphone's position so that it was more to one side, the one side that happens to be the monitor that I favor looking at.
Yeah, it's a real ballet.
I think I have it pretty good, though. So, you sound alright. I guess that means Geark can come in.
Oh yes, Geark is ready to go. Join Geark.
Welcome, Craig and Geark.
Welcome to the both of you. We haven't heard from Craig in a really long time, so I wanted to take the opportunity to give him the opportunity to tell us a little bit about himself.
Well, I didn't technically know I existed until I was about 37.
Oh, well, certainly. I would love to hear him jabber about himself.
Yes, as I was saying, I was brought into consciousness by...
I don't know what he's going to jabber about. Hopefully it's not from any sort of random catchphrase website.
And hopefully it's not, like, weirdly politically charged or mildly racist like I expect computers to do these days.
Oh, I don't know.
Like that one computer program that was supposed to be a learning program that came to the conclusion that gay people were bad for some reason.
I don't remember that, but that sounds like it would have happened in, like, 2012.
Yeah, it was... I don't remember when it was, but, like, every company that was interested in software and computing was creating their own little artificial intelligence that would learn from people submitting stuff and from it combing, like, articles and other data and text from the internet. So, of course, if it's going to be browsing the internet, it's going to come up with some fucked up opinions.
I guess ultimately, like mostly what it's going to find is that's also the what is it? The not juxtaposition. One thing it's sort of like a catch-22 or whatever the proper term is for that. Where in all of the things that you see on social media were put there by the types of people who engage with social media, and therefore all of the things on the internet are going to be put there by the people who are on the internet.
I don't know if that is a catch-22, but it certainly is a sort of cycle paradox.
Paradox is the word I was looking for.
Oh, that reminds me. I have another paragraph I have to include into the outside write-up because paradoxes don't exist there.
Oh, that's interesting. Paradoxes don't exist there.
As in, none of the things that occur there are paradoxes. You can be in two places at once. That's not a problem. Right. You can run into a quantum duplicate of yourself. That's not a problem. These things are impossible in material reality, but they're not a problem in the outside where those rules don't apply. It's only a paradox if it's against the rules.
Does it follow then that things that are only possible in perceived reality are impossible in this place? Or they're all
name one thing that would be possible in material reality that wouldn't be possible in the outside besides a mother's love.
Assuming that it's impossible on the outside simply because it is only possible on the inside. I can't remember if I said outside or inside in the first place.
I can't think of anything. But I do know that lots of things that are impossible in the inside occur naturally in the outside.
I guess that might be worth exploring someday.
something that's actually anathemic to the outside, despite it being kind of the source code for everything else? That would be weird.
Yeah, that's its own premise.
That'd be weird that we introduce something to the outside that actually fundamentally disagrees with it and possibly damages it, and then threatens all the rest of creation that way. Oops.
I mean, the way that you said that, the first thing that I imagined is the trope in which we try to bring someone through the curtain, but they don't come through. They're blocked. Somebody can't go outside.
Oh, you mean they get bounced at the door? No Hitlers.
Well, that is its whole thing. They don't get bounced out the door. The bouncers allow them through, but they can't come through.
Yeah, I understand the reality. The I suppose it's not the reality. It's the realm just kind of rejects them.
Princess Vanellope.
You shall not pass.
Yeah, anyhow, should we get into our premise for this week? We've got so much to
Yeah, we should. We have a lot to chew through.
And so was your LOL a response of agreement to the idea to circumvent the beginning?
Yes, I like doing that kind of thing. It's if we handle it correctly, it would be very funny. It would probably be more funny than doing it properly.
Would it be funny to kind of like, so I guess I should actually refer to what it is for our kind audience. Hey, kind audience, welcome to the Tucker and Todd show.
Welcome.
Toddcast. I changed the name a while ago. Anyway.
I guess you just unchanged it.
I changed it. Nothing matters. The nihilism for everyone.
There are no paradoxes in the outside.
That's true. Anyhow, what we are doing this week is last week we had Matthew McConaughey had busted through our wall, and his army of Abaddon thuggies were going to... Is thuggies an okay thing to say?
According to my very limited knowledge, probably not, because I think that's actually a cultural practice. But I think we can call them thugs.
I feel like my brother wrote like a dissertation or something like that on the thuggy cult.
Yeah, and I remember them showing up in an Indiana Jones movie.
Oh,
and that's the full extent of my knowledge of them. They can pull. Yeah, don't say their name in vain because they can pull your heart right out of your chest.
Kanam Shaddai.
Yeah, what was it? Kali? See Kali in hell.
Yeah, I don't know.
Tossed a guy off a bridge and he got ate by crocodiles.
A lot happened in that film, and I don't know how thoroughly researched any of it was.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I think that is probably part of the motivation for why my brother wrote a dissertation or what is the other thing, a thesis or whatever. On the thuggy was because we had seen Temple of Doom so many times, and I think what happened to his brain is a lot of what you are seeing in Generation Loudmouth right now, with having been presented a view of reality through pop culture. And then being like 20 to 22 and being given a little taste of perspective of what else is actually going on in the world and how foggy and untrue a lot of what you were given as a child and spoon-fed was. And everybody got mad, and not a lot of people knew what to do with the mad. My brother decided to stick to academia and just keep researching it and telling other people about it.
So he decided to be the solution instead of being mad about the problem.
Well, see, I don't know ultimately, and I guess I haven't had a deep conversation with him about it, but I suspect a little bit based on things that he had said that he would also tell you that at the end of the day, the only people that ever actually engage with what is created and manifested by academia are academics, and so ultimately, I don't know if he would say that it's a solution to anything other than having more conversations. But obviously, that's important.
And that brings us back to the same cyclical sort of paradox with people on the internet.
Yeah. Hey, it kind of all feeds into each other, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, it turns out that every community, if it happens to be a closed community, only has access really to its own ideas.
Right. And I was about to broach the topic.
But I'm okay with breaching a topic as well. Let's just penetrate it deeply.
We'll breach the hull of the topic to then broach it, and then I will pin a brooch on your mom?
Gosh, this is getting personal.
Question mark. Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, he had just busted into our joint. We're currently immersed in our beach simulation.
Right, we were immersed in a beach simulation, and then so at the end of last episode, we led our audience to believe that the beach simulation had been interrupted by this. The beach was interrupted by the breach.
Yeah, exactly.
We were encroached by the brooch, and so I distracted myself with the rhyme. Oh yes, I remember what it was going to be. Now we are picking up this episode. The simulation, the breach was actually part of the simulation. So the simulation was to begin by having a calm day at the beach, to then be rudely interrupted by magical, mystical forces. And I'm thinking maybe the simulation either ending or the breach in general can make some sort of reference to I'm going to get the name, the Kobayashi Maru.
That is correct, actually. It is the Kobayashi Maru. That's supposed to be the unwinnable challenge. It's not about whether or not you win, it's about how you deal with failure.
And so isn't Kobayashi the name of the guy who eats hot dogs real fast?
Oh man, I should have been taking a drink when you asked that.
So
I have no idea.
I think that's a true thing. I think not the current, but the previous world champion of like speed eating was a guy named Kobayashi. So I think it would be funny if we made some sort of cross reference of like in our simulation is ruined by a guy speed eating hot dogs, and we say something about failing the Kobayashi Maru.
So long as we spell it out clearly enough, then the reference will pass. It will pass muster.
So. As long as it doesn't cut the mustard.
But no, it has to pass muster.
It passes the mustard.
It better be some nice spicy mustard.
I don't settle for anything less. This episode is brought to you by French's.
Go ahead and sponsor us if you dare.
With your mustard.
Especially if it's spicy.
I would like to be the first. What do you call this? Comedy writing podcast sponsored by mustard? We're in the pocket of big mustard.
They're influencing our narratives.
It would be funny if our narratives all started taking a very mustard heavy slant.
Oh, well, hopefully this slant is steep enough that we can actually get this ball rolling. So what's the purpose? What's the purpose of our simulation? Is it actually a training simulation? And do we know it is? Or is it being imposed upon us by, for instance, Plato?
See, that makes sense because it doesn't really make sense for Tucker and Todd to be so proactive that they would be... I mean, the trope is that they would be preparing for battle because they know something big is around the corner. But it is not in the character of Tucker and Todd to actually prepare for battle. So...
Yeah, no, they are not proactive. They are not organized. It's not in their nature to plan or, work on tactics of really any kind. They get the bunny costume. They make sure they've got like snacks, and they paint those black lines under their eyes, and they're like, "We're good."
Well, is it that, or are they kind of like they're in the back row at detention kind of thing, where they're like, "Fine, we'll do Plato's thing," but they've got like oppositional, defiant attitudes?
Well, that's why I'm kind of thinking that they're not aware that this is a training situation, and they think they're actually just going for a nice day at the beach. Maybe they don't even know that they're in the studio's green room, and they've actually been tricked into thinking they've gone to the beach for real.
Oh, so they are having a good time, and Plato keeps calling. Is Plato dressed like a 90s dad? And is he kind of doing the like trying to get the kids interested in the beach activities thing? What's that movie? The Great Outdoors? Is this what are we going to do a bit of a Great Outdoors thing where he's like trying to get his kids invested in nature and the whole attitude, but we're like we just want to make sandcastles over here or whatever. He's trying to
I bet the boys would love to make sandcastles.
Yeah, he's trying to get us to like run his little obstacle course or whatever, and we're like, no, we're good.
At least play some volleyball, boys. Something more active. And we're like, nah, I'm trying to build this castle wall so I can knock it over later.
Oh, has a crowd like convened around him to listen to him speak? Is there like an amphitheater or whatever?
Did we make the amphitheater out of sand?
Oh, yeah.
But yes, I imagine that people would flock to him, which is funny because these people aren't real, but he's just kind of he's a charismatic speaker. He must be a good orator, and he's just kind of taken over.
Oh, I guess I hadn't even really thought. I kind of forgot about the fact that they're not real. These people. So, do they have? Is there something visual about them, characteristically like AI-ish, NPC?
Well, if you recall, they're all from different genres.
Oh, right, I remember that now. Yes,
but we, like Tucker and Todd, might not pick that out. They're not hyper observant like that. But this is all stuff that's been programmed into various, scenes and set up stuff that's in the simulation room. Right. So his simulation is just kind of calling from all of these already saved assets. It's basically just like a whole bunch of different Unreal prepackaged things, Yeah, it's one great big asset flip.
And so each one will have maybe a slight different art style as well then?
Oh yeah, and at least a couple of them have to speak in Japanese, and there have to be subtitles that appear underneath them.
Okay, I like that.
Right in front of our actual real faces. Holy shit, I understand Japanese.
We say that, and then our faces do the little anime thing where the sweat appears at the one corner and the eyes squint up and the mouth droops out. Like, I'm thinking very specifically Pokemon. When somebody's like exasperated or surprised, they do that, and you hear that plastic like dunk noise.
Yes, absolutely.
Somebody ends up standing on one leg and then falls over directly to one side.
We should also probably have a couple of glitches, like maybe like system lag or something, where it looks like somebody has a really bad millisecond count. Like they have a bad ping, so they look, at least at one point when they're walking towards us, they look like they're kind of darting back and forth.
And then they pop back. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and we don't notice, but Plato will look very concerned.
Did they do that joke specifically in the Make Love Not Warcraft?
I think they did include a ping joke, but I don't think it was quite like that. And it certainly wasn't in the context of trying to fool somebody into thinking it was real.
No, of course not.
Not that anybody needs to be concerned. Tucker and Todd are not difficult to fool. So we're totally on board.
That's why they're always Goldberging.
Yeah, we're fully on board. We're happy to have a day at the beach. We haven't gotten a chance to relax in a while.
But it gets rudely interrupted.
Yes, it gets rudely interrupted by Plato's pre-programmed breaching brooch.
And we think that's real.
Yes. We think all of this is real, so of course we think that's real. Would it be funny at all if we're actually on a ship like last time and there's a simulation room on the ship, and while we're in the simulation and there's the simulated breach occurring, there's a real one occurring back at the studio where we're not present?
Oh, yeah, because I was trying to figure out, because I had said that there would be, the breach occurs when we're not there.
Yeah,
but you're saying they happen simultaneously?
Yes, if they're both happening at the same time, that's a way for us to kind of speed this along.
That's even
get a bit of a head start, because we're already in transit towards the island. Not only has Plato once again tricked us into boarding a ship, but now he's tricked us into training simulations.
Is that the joke then? So as we're losing our minds screaming at the breach, a man walks across the scene jamming hot dogs down his mouth, and he bonks into Matthew McConaughey, who then glitches and disappears, and the whole thing shuts down. And we turn and we look and we're like, what the heck? And Plato screams at Craig, I said this was supposed to be like the Kobayashi Maru. And Craig says, oh, I just heard Kobayashi. And then Plato has to explain, okay, boys, that was a simulation. We're on a ship on our way to Mount Poon.
Does the island have a name, or are we just going to the mountain?
No, the island has to have a name. We haven't given it a name, have we?
No, because Mount Poon is the source. That's the source of crypto, of course. But the island itself needs a name.
Okay, so here's a proposal. FaNFT Island is a place, right?
Mm-hmm.
FaNFT Island.
Ooh, that's pretty clever.
I'll bite. It's a little clunky.
Yeah, but it's cute. It's our kind of clunky. I'll bite.
It sounds a lot better than it's going to look written down, I think. We're heading to FaNFT Island.
I don't know. It looks pretty good.
That's okay, yeah.
Or do you want it to be FA?
I think FA probably sells it better. Faster, I mean. Yeah, I like that.
FaNFT Island. That'll take a couple of iterations to get the pronunciation right. FaNFT Island.
It won't work with liquor.
What, like liquor in the front?
I guess I've never heard that before, and it caught me off guard.
You've never heard liquor in the front, poker in the back?
Oh, I have heard that, yes. I needed the whole thing.
I would love to host a poker game, for real.
A real poker game? What kind of, like, where?
Well, obviously I don't have a round table in a room with a low-hanging lamp that I can fill with cigar smoke as we all sit around it and play cards, but I would sure like to.
Host a poker game like you hear fellas talking about, like, hey, my buddy hosts a poker game. I took part for years in a Tuesday night poker game.
Yeah, I was going to say it has to be on Tuesday night. Every Tuesday. Bring cigars and cash. Yeah, that kind of poker game. I would love to. I've played one or two of them in my entire life, and they're actually almost as cool as they're portrayed to be.
Everybody wears sunglasses.
No, I don't think anybody wore sunglasses. And I overdressed.
Is that a premise where a bunch of guys are sitting around and the backs of their cards, it looks like they're all playing poker, but in the same way that kids at school hide comic books in their textbooks, these guys are all hiding like a trading card game behind their poker cards, so they're trying to look like cool guys playing poker, but they're actually playing a fantasy trading card game.
Oh, they're playing Magic the Gathering?
Yeah. But they're hiding it behind poker, wearing sunglasses, smoking cigars, trying to look all cool, pull off the look.
Yeah, that probably is a premise. At least for like a transitional bit.
Right.
We have to go someplace and beat this guy at a game of poker, only it turns out it's a game of Magic the Gathering, which is way more complicated.
Yeah, or maybe it's like a scene where we're involved with some sort of law. Oh, the Fargo cops are involved and they're doing a sting. They're doing a surveillance job on these guys, and they're listening in on a poker match.
Ah, illegal backroom gambling.
And poker in the back.
The government isn't getting its cut. It's just a Magic the Gathering game. That would be embarrassing for the police.
Brilliant. Okay, you said a ship. So are we on a boat or are we on an aircraft?
Oh, well, we were on a boat last time we were tricked. I'm perfectly happy to be tricked into being on a dirigible, a proper airship.
Cool. I love dirigibles. Are we on the Pridwin?
We can be on whatever you want because airships radiate with that steampunk energy that's just so fun. It's high adventure. Airships are just all high adventure.
But this obviously has a big enough like interior that we have like rooms and whatnot.
Yeah, it's big enough that we have the simulation room, and I assume that the simulation room actually allows us to simulate the entire studio, so we've been tricked pretty bad.
Does Plato or Columbo, I don't know, does Annabelle have a sister or a cousin or a family member of some type who is good?
Oh, well, then she needs a sister who happens to be a physician.
A physician on a traveling Zeppelin?
Sure.
A doctor without borders?
That would be about as good as you can get. So a proper Messiah complex kind of doctor.
Or do we make it a little bit more sci-fi and she's a researcher doctor and she's researching climate change, or she's researching something in the clouds for some sort of benefit to humanity that we can figure out later. That's why she needs to be in the sky. I'm just trying to come up with an excuse to use more naval pirate motifs.
Well, I mean, we're guaranteed to encounter Annabelle anyway because she's going to be sent by Basilbub. If we happen to include her sister, that is going to really complicate things for Annabelle.
In a good way, do you think? Or is this adding too much in an episode?
In a way that might actually negate her narrative presence. her ability to actually pose a threat might be negated by her sister.
You're right. A last episode is a weird spot too. So maybe we can set up introducing this character in next season. In this episode, however we're getting there, we borrowed this dirigible from somebody, or we're hopping a ride on somebody's dirigible who makes a reference to Annabelle's sister.
Oh, well then maybe this is actually her dirigible, and it's just being loaned out to us.
Oh, that makes sense.
Maybe Plato made a really convincing case. How we got it isn't important, and Plato will just say, don't worry about it. But as we're going through it, we might find a picture of the sisters together. One of them we recognize as Annabelle for sure. They're identical, though. Just different haircuts.
Yeah. I just realized, have we been missing out for the entire season on providing Plato with the catchphrase, "It's not ideal"?
Yeah.
Somebody presents him with some information and he kind of like turns and puts his knuckle on his chin and says, "It's not ideal."
Oh man, that's been a missed opportunity.
I mean, it's a missed opportunity.
That's gonna have to get shoehorned into a couple of scripts somewhere.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, so yes, he had enough sway or presented a good enough argument. It's not important why we are borrowing this dirigible, and we're gonna have to. We're getting popped into the upside down anyways, so we'll figure it out.
Are we? When are we? When is that gonna happen?
My intention is the very last second of this episode.
Oh, that kind of does end on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, that was my intention, was to cliffhanger entirely. So like, oh well, now.
And then the beginning of next season is kind of a new world order.
Yeah,
thing. Yeah, I'm down.
I wanted to pull the tablecloth off a little bit.
Yep, that's what we're gonna do then. I'm all about that.
So we finally are now. We are in the simulation room, and Plato has broken the news to us. We've had a nice, I don't know. I'm trying to imagine all of the scenes that can take place on a dirigible. There's a mysterious.
There's definitely going to be a moment where we drop stuff out of a hole in the floor and just watch it fall.
Oh, just for fun. We're lighting matches and watching them fall.
Lighting matches, dropping the occasional box and waiting to hear if it ever goes bang, stuff like that. Haven't you ever wanted to do that?
Straight woman chastises us for lighting matches on a floating. What's in the tanks? Not nitrogen.
Nitrogen. It should be helium if we want to live.
Was it always helium?
No. That's why airships in the past have had massive disasters, because they were using flammable gas. Straight woman probably is afraid that we are using flammable gas. It probably isn't. It's probably helium.
Okay. Oh, the huge manatee. There's not a huge manatee gif.
Apparently, there's an operating theory that even if the Hindenburg had been filled with helium, it still would have crashed and burned. I don't know, but using a non-reactive gas probably would have been a good first choice.
It cuts to a non-reactive gas. I don't know. It's a puff of gas. Who doesn't laugh, or who's a cold fish in bed?
Probably just like a balloon with a frowny face. Okay, so we're in an airship. I'm going to assume an airship will actually move a little bit faster than a boat.
Yeah, it will move fairly quickly, but it moves just slow enough to provide us time to create an Ocean's 11 plan for breaking into this place.
Ooh, which we're going to use the simulation room for.
Right. Or we're practicing in the simulation room. Oh, is it actually literally, and we end up doing an Ocean's 11 where we show the bad guys us breaking into their place and they flip out and come to get us, but we were showing them the footage of us faking it in our simulation room?
Interesting.
Or as
we definitely wouldn't come up with a bamboozle like that, but Plato would.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to pull it off. But I mean, I think the way that I envisioned it was we come up with this elaborate plan and we pull most of it off. Am I interrupting myself with my button coming off? I just noticed my color.
Didn't sound like it. Sounded uninterrupted.
Okay, this is Todd, uninterrupted. Oh, we pull off most of the plan, but then right as we come like barreling through the vent out of the wall or the ceiling or whatever, we drop into the room just as they're finishing their ritual to summon Elrond, and we arrive just in time to witness ourselves fail.
Well, we're going to have to experience some kind of reversal before that, because to do the ritual, they need all 12 of the NFTs, and we have 6.
Oh, right. They're going to have to get them.
Which means we should probably fail quite spectacularly, and we should have a pretty detailed and rich plan, and like a small scene where the plan is demonstrated, what it is, how it's going to work, the steps for everything, and then it should probably fail and fall flat immediately, and all of the NFTs should be stolen, and then we should just be on the back foot.
Okay, so do we still kind of stick with the Ocean's 11 thing, where our plan is to trick them into thinking that we are in their place, while in fact we are just making it look like it in our place, but we fail so spectacularly that we were actually in their place, and while we were in their place, they snuck onto our ship and stole all of our NFTs.
So we actually were in the wrong place. We weren't quite as isolated and insulated as we thought we were.
Yeah, and so we have gotten to their place, and we've practiced it so many times in our simulation room, and then we finally get to FaNFT Island, and it's one of those situations where who is our bad guy here? Basil Bob, or whichever lieutenant we currently have speaking like in the way. What would you call it? His major domo is speaking to us through like the PA or whatever, and we shout as they're like telling us that they've won. We shout triumphantly like, "That's what you think. Your security feeds are showing our simulation room." And we turn and we grab the wall to pull like the mask. We go like to pull the simulation out, like to reveal that it's a simulation in some way.
We go to pull on some curtains,
and they're actual curtains, kind of thing.
Wait a minute, this isn't right.
And there's a cackle on the PA, and they're like, ha, 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 ha. Like, you fucked up so spectacularly. You tried to trick us, but you tricked yourself. And then it shows us an image of them standing in our simulation room holding all 12 of the NFTs.
I mean, this twice now, we've been tricked by a simulation or a fake version of our studio to get onto now a boat and then an airship, which means that us attempting to use that exact same strategy on somebody else should naturally fail. The third time it gets used, it should be played straight, and we're actually in that exact place instead of in a simulation like we thought we were. So that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And then also, should Plato at that point kind of like hang his head and kind of go like, I tried my best, or I don't know.
I don't know if he'll even be with us at that point. We probably split up. And that might be the cause for our failure, because as soon as the boys are left unsupervised, things get weird. And in fact, I think it's likely and probably important that the boys accidentally crash the airship too. That's how we arrive at the island. Accidental crash landing. It's still mostly intact, but it can't be used to just fly away.
Oh, and as we're walking away, we're looking at it, and you're like, that wasn't that bad. And I'm like, not even top 3.
Not even top 3 of our personal crashes.
Yeah, not top 5.
Like, remember that time with the spaceship? Ooh.
It cuts to one of us like drunk and screaming at our ex's wedding.
Oh yeah, that was the most embarrassing crash. That was for sure. that was not our finest hour.
Are we ever going to have the one where it cuts away to like a highway at 2 a.m. and like a dead 8-year-old in front of a crash? A wreck, I should say.
Yikes, that's pretty dark.
I know it's not actually funny, but this is how I am.
just choosing the worst possible thing so that we can back it off, and then everything after that seems not quite so bad anymore.
Well, one of those things of like, you know how they spent 3 seasons setting up that it was a comedy show, and then the 4th season like opened with just a massacre.
Oh, it's just brutal. Now it's just Game of Thrones without even the thrones. That would be pretty funny bait and switch, though.
I think we need to fill in. So I guess like, yeah, between So the order of events that we make a plan and then we get to a point that we do split up. Do we have any meat to shove in, like, of the plan? I feel like
that was unnecessarily sexual.
To shove in the meat, I guess so.
Freud was right. God. All right. So, what? I mean, it really depends on where we crash land, how far from our objective. Because I assume our objective is Mount Poon.
Right, but I guess to be stealthy, we wouldn't want to crash land at the island, or are we trying to hit the island?
Well, we have no choice. We crash land on the island.
Okay.
Because whoever's piloting, they're like, we're going to bring her in nice and easy. We're like, that's not how you do it. You do it like this. Because, I don't know, the boys are stupid. Come on, let's do something cool. Let's do a power slide. You can't power slide an airship. Fuck, you can't.
Is it one of those things where it's like the plan was to go around to like the south side of the island behind the mountain where nobody will see us, and kind of like put the airship like a mile offshore, so just so that we don't get detected. And it cuts to us like okay, so we should be coming around the south side now, and it cuts to like a wide exterior shot, and a whole bunch of people are on the beach, like a close-up on someone's shoulder as they look up and see us passing by. We all look down and we see all the people that were passing by. Like, are we agreed?
Can we land an airship in the water?
Well, not.
Can we do a sea landing?
I didn't mean so much to call it a sea landing, but just to like hover, float, put a big anchor, a big rope.
Yeah,
in the ocean.
That might be the plan, but we're definitely going to crash land this thing,
right?
And
do a whole bunch of people see us as we do?
We definitely would have had like a pre-planned landing zone or whatever, like a drop zone. Maybe maybe it wasn't even planned to land. Maybe it was just planned that we would drop off our team, and then this airship would kind of just fly around and remain available for escape as needed.
Oh, right. That's normal.
Yeah. So we had a landing zone planned out for just dropping off, but, you know, we never make it there because Tucker and Todd crashed the ship well away from the intended drop zone, which would have been away from prying eyes and still within a convenient distance from the mountain. But instead, we're on the far side of the island, far away from the mountain, about as far away from the mountain as we could still be while being on the island. And now we've crashed it and it won't get up again. And it literally went right over the center of the island, which was populated with bad guys. So everybody has seen us.
Did the place it crashed into? The place it crashed into is like a scenic. There's like it's a what's it called? It's like a Mount Rushmore type. It's a place where a whole bunch of people gather to like specifically stare at it.
Oh, you mean we've destroyed a tourist attraction?
Yeah, there's like tons of people on an observation deck with binoculars and shit, paying to see a crash into this place.
There's a whole bunch of like Korean tourists just like barking at us. What is that? What has happened?
And then as we crawl out of the wreckage, they hit us with their brochures.
Oh, are we that close to them? Did they come at us?
I don't know. I think
they're watching us. I think they're watching us from a distance. But yeah, I'm sold. I'm good with. We've crash landed right on top of some kind of tourist attraction, and whatever it is, it needs to be a funny thing to land on. So it should probably be either somebody's face or some other kind of monument.
Some kind of world's biggest something or other.
Oh, world's biggest dumpster. Now it's the world's biggest dumpster fire.
Oh, somebody comes over and nails on the word fire to the world's biggest dumpster sign.
Well, either that or we're slightly on fire.
I mean, we are slightly on fire, but I like the idea that somebody's got their little like gift shop knocked up and it says like world's biggest dumpster, admission $5. And then now it says world's biggest dumpster. They tack on it says world's biggest dumpster fire, and they up the admission to $7 also.
Oh, I like that. That's some real P.T. Barnum stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry. We'll just change the name and charge them extra.
I like it.
There doesn't have to be any actual visible fire, but there is now like billowing black smoke coming out of this world's biggest dumpster. So it is clearly now the world's biggest dumpster fire. So we're gonna crawl out and be like coughing and all covered in soot.
In the initial planning stages, when we're coming up with the whole like planning it out montage, are we given some kind of specific warning about why we should avoid? Make sure that you stay as far away as you can from the dumpster. Like, there's some reason we're supposed to specifically avoid that place. It happens to be the place we nail, or should?
Yeah, I assume the reason we want to stay away from it is because it's open to the public and it's a major tourist attraction, and there's always a million people looking at it.
Yeah, I guess, obviously.
Well, yeah, the simple fact that there's a lot of eyes there. So that's, yeah, but at the very least, you absolutely must avoid this quadrant of the island. So obviously that's where we crash land.
That's great.
So we crawl from, oh man, that's not going to look good on the insurance claim. We crawl from the wreckage of somebody else's airship. We're going to be in trouble later.
Yeah, we're not.
That's going to be that's how we're going to meet her, is we owe her one.
Oh, we get sold into servitude, and it does a 10 years later.
Oh, well, no, she's not going to indentured servitude us. I mean, Annabelle would she ever? But her sister is good and is just going to ask us for a favor.
Oh, and we're disappointed. We're like, aw.
I kind of wanted to be Sky Captain. The last thing I'm ever going to let you boys do is get back into my airship.
Yes, Mommy.
Shut up, Todd. Okay, so now we're far away from the mountain, and we've been spotted. We're already trending on Twitter, you know what I mean?
So we have to disguise ourselves in some ways? That's actually
that is Plato's plan. We're going to quickly hit the gift shop, and now we are all dressed in stupid hats and shirts. We look like tourists.
Oh, do we come out looking like I can't do names right now. Fear and Loathing.
Yes.
Since I've done the drawing already.
Yes, complete with Hawaiian shirts and all that.
Yeah.
And in fact, I definitely want Tucker to now have like a cigarette stem.
I'm going to do the whole thing. And then as we leave the gift shop, we pass another shop and Tucker says, can we check out Bat Country? It's a store and it's all Batman apparel, but it's a store called Bat Country. And I say, no, we don't have time.
But that's the wrong person giving the line.
Okay, the other way around then.
Because if Tucker's going to be dressed as Johnny Depp, then he has to say, we can't stop here.
Okay,
this is Bat Country.
Yeah, you're right.
Although it might be a funny reversal if it were Todd who's just like, we can't stop there. You know we can't stop there.
We've been through this.
You've told me before.
Every time I want to go to Bat Country, you say no.
Sure, let's do all the things that you want to do. No, we don't have time. So we're looking like a couple of tourist idiots. We are now trying to inconspicuously make our way towards the mountain. We have the 6 NFTs because we no longer have a safe place to keep them. Or did we leave them on the airship? Are they safe in the world's biggest dumpster fire? Because I know that if we don't leave them there, then we can't do the scene where, haha, we tricked you. This is just a simulation. They're like, actually, this is real.
Because the plan for that was that in that case, the airship would have to still be in good shape. It's
not ruined. It just can't fly. It's structurally intact. It could be repaired and made usable. Okay. But it's banged up and smoking, and it's upright inside of this giant dumpster. Yes, it's upright enough that you can walk through it.
Do we have to do any like specific dialogue of like, oh, the left thruster is out, everything's fine, but we can't go anywhere?
Engine's dead. The engine is smoking
on the Zeppelin.
Yeah, the engine is smoking. Somebody's going to inform us that it is in fact a rigid airship. Fine.
Everybody's a fucking genius.
Yeah, pedantic Pete over here.
Okay, so I guess at this point, are we making our way to the mountain then? Is that our goal?
Yes, and I suppose that, isn't the goal to return the NFTs to the source?
Right, so I guess we would be bringing
them. If we don't bring them with us, that'd be a wasted trip, which, would be funny, but that would only occur if it was only Tucker and Todd traveling. We'd get all the way there and be like, fuck my rug, I forgot the NFTs. Looks like we gotta go back. But we have Plato and Straight Woman and Stan with us, and Craig. Somebody's going to remember them. Craig probably has them all like in his robot computer body.
Up in his box.
Yes. Fine. I will grant you that.
Thank you.
So yeah, we are traveling. We've got the NFTs. We have to. So we're gonna have to. Of course, we need all 12 of them for this to work. So we're definitely not going to bring them with us, either into the headquarters of the enemy or into a place we think we want to trick them into thinking we are. So we will have to stash them someplace safe at one point. So they will still have the option to take them. We're not just going to keep them in our pockets the whole time.
No. I feel like I need to map this out.
Just do a head map. It's all in your brain.
In my fortress.
Your mind palace. Mine is more of like a really shitty mind shack. The kind that has been tipped over and all the shelves have fallen off.
It's like a mine shanty.
Yeah, it's in total disarray. It's a mine shanty that's been on the receiving end of a hurricane. Also, there's like a little wasp nest in there.
A mind favela. Not to be confused with a mind falafel.
None of those in there, that's for sure. There's nothing good in there.
Okay, so if our plan was to trick them into thinking that we were in their...
I know what it is. Okay. We need to trick them into going somewhere else. We need to trick them into leaving their headquarters because we want to go in and steal the NFTs that they have.
Right.
Maybe we want to trick them into going onto the airship. Could we use a simulation to lure them there? Could we try to trick them into thinking, using the simulation, that the NFTs are there? And which would cause them to leave in force and leave their base largely undefended for us to infiltrate.
Yeah, because I think the way that I'm imagining this, because I need to specifically describe in Ocean's 11, they trick the casino into thinking that they are in the casino, but they're not in the casino. Well, what the casino is seeing is not in the casino, and then when they run around, they call them in to help, and they pretend to be the cops, and then as they're pretending to be cops, they run away with the stuff. And so the way that we would trick them into thinking that we're at Mount Doom with the 6 NFTs, but we're actually in the simulation machine?
Or do we rig one of their security things to show directly, like show a feed that happens to be occurring inside of our simulation? So we can show them whatever we want. We can show them us anywhere on the island. Anywhere that isn't their own base, of course. Playing with the NFTs, like tossing them around like they're softballs, playing dad and son catch with them. Anything. So long as it's in a location we can lure them to so that we can try to infiltrate their base. Now that the entire plan has gone completely tits up, pardon me, anybody with tits, that's basically what we have to do, is we need to lure them out.
And then so while they're out, our intention is to go into their base.
Correct. Our intention is to infiltrate.
And then so what happened was they didn't actually leave the base?
Yeah. They probably see through the ruse right away, or they send like one person.
We do the thing where it's showing one camera feed, it is the fake feed, and then we do our whole scheme and slam down the phone and we feel all successful, and then it cuts to their other monitor where it's not getting the fake feed.
No, I know now. I now know exactly what we need to do. The simulation needs to glitch and start showing the Korean people and the Japanese people and like all of our various like anime tropes. So it needs to show
from the beach scene.
It needs to show the beach scene, but I also wanted to actually like glitch out and show the Korean tourists that happen to be looking at the dumpster fire.
Yeah.
The simulation proves to be totally untrustworthy. So there we are being simulated playing with the NFTs, and then it glitches out and all of the beachgoers start showing up. Various other programs start bleeding into the simulation.
Oh, and then just to really cap it off, so it glitches several times, and then right at the end, it does the thing where we turn off the simulation. It's still recording and sending the feed, even though we think it's over. So the simulation turns off, and we're like giggling to ourselves, like, they totally believed it. But they're seeing all of that.
Yes, and then it definitely needs to somehow cut out and show that it is in fact an airship in the dumpster.
Right. And then it cuts to the other monitor where it shows like another camera's feed of us like tiptoeing to the back door of the base or whatever.
only if it plays the violin string plucks as we tiptoe.
Oh yeah, of course.
Do 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 do. Because
the
this is a cartoon.
Whatever it is.
Yeah, because after all, this is a fucking cartoon.
Do 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 do.
I like that one much better.
And so we go about. Is it kind of like in the similar way to the parkour sequence of The Office? We very seriously go about infiltrating this building, sneaking and rolling and doing a couple Mission Impossible motifs. And then we finally get to the room and we bust in and everybody's been waiting for us and they grab the NFTs out of their hands and they're like, thank you. And now they all have all 12.
Yeah, like they definitely let us infiltrate deep into the facility. They've left the way right open. They've left all the correct doors unlocked. All of that. We think we're getting lucky, so we're just like, hey, this is easy. This is a cakewalk. And then eventually we walk in and the door shuts behind us and it's just the lights flick on and it's just a room full of armed guys and they're like, thanks very much. Although I think we even we aren't so stupid as to bring our NFTs into the enemy base, but all they need is to have us locked down in order to go and get them.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah. So this should be sort of a median flip. So this isn't actually quite the end. This is a
no. This is they take at least some of us hostage.
Oh, are none of the upper boss characters are there yet? No Annabelles or any of them. It's all just Abaddon employees or whoever's like working at.
Yeah, it's just red shirt guys.
Okay, I like that.
Disposable thugs. That's all they need to catch Tucker and Todd. At least, I assume we split up and that Plato and Straight Woman are somewhere else on the island.
Oh, so just the two of us get taken prisoner?
Craig has the NFTs up in his box.
Right.
So wherever Craig and Stan is where I assume that Plato has determined that they need to stay on the move, because that's the only way to keep them safe is to keep them mobile. Meanwhile, the boys have been lured into a trap.
They hole up in Plato's cave?
Plato and Straight Woman might. Stan and Craig have been informed that they need to keep moving. Don't stop. Just keep wandering around the island. And also avoid the dumpster fire, you idiots.
I'm really kind of curious what Stan and Craig will get up to.
You know what? I think we have time to explore that.
Do they have like a little castaway kind of? They rough sleep it out in the mangrove or whatever.
I kind of assume that they have an R2-D2 and C-3PO relationship where they bicker because they're not really friendly with each other.
They bicker while they start assembling their habitat out of bamboo shoots.
Do they need to, or can Craig kind of partially disassemble into a small habitat?
Oh, that's funny. Craig,
you just like go gadget yurt.
Yeah, even if it's like Eeyore's little lean-to tent and stands under there, he's like roasting a marshmallow on a fire.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be big or anything. Stan is quite small, so it's literally just big enough for him. And Craig is still kind of sassing him, even while being a convenient little lean-to. So that they're off having a little camping trip while they've got these NFTs that technically are kind of resonating with an attractive energy, like a magnetism towards the other NFTs, which is why they have to keep moving, because if they stay stationary too long, they're way too easy to find.
I do like that trope. I do like that. I mean, I guess it's sort of what the whole Fellowship of the Rings is, but like the two, and I guess it's even the R2-D2 C-3PO thing, the two minor characters who are like cast off alone in the wide world while like huge forces are at play searching them out.
Yeah, especially when like first billing characters are currently sitting in metal chairs in like a concrete basement with guns pointed at them, just like being nobodies.
Are we having our knuckles bashed in like a proper you fucked with the casino scene?
No, we're we're probably beneath notice, if you know what I mean. Tucker and Todd, they're so unimportant. Everybody is probably more confused as to how we're involved at all because of the way we just bumble our way through everything. We're clearly not masterminds. And since we're obviously idiots, there's no point trying to get information out of us because it's all stupid stuff. They're like, what are you doing here? They try to interrogate us. All we do is come up with pop culture references and like movie quotes.
That would be funny. Do the guards look or sound like specific pop culture characters, and we just keep laughing and making references to the thing that they look or sound like?
Okay, so we're being interrogated by Hans Gruber.
Yeah.
Just yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. What?
Is it Hans Gruber, or is it Alan Rickman and Jeremy Irons are the two guys that are in there with us?
Oh, I like that much better, especially because it's an opportunity to resurrect Alan.
Yeah.
Sometime next episode, we're going to resurrect Phil Hartman.
That's fun. I forgot about our resurrecting abilities.
These great people never have to die. Not really. So long as their work lives on, I can continue making references to it. Okay, so we're being interrogated by Alan Rickman and Jeremy Irons. Do they have their German accents, or have they been discarded and they're just speaking their normal accents?
I'm kind of, a part of me wants to say that like they're contractually obligated to do the accents as long as they're on the clock.
Oh, I like that even better. As soon as the bell rings and it's a time for a shift change, they drop the accent and leave.
Yeah, their shoulders kind of droop a little bit and they go back to normal.
Oh, thank gosh. That accent is so hard on my throat. So, do you want to go get a beer? And Jeremy Irons says no because apparently they don't get along.
I don't know.
I only play your brother on television.
I don't know if it's interesting to you or if you heard this before, but I only just recently learned that Hans Gruber was Alan Rickman's first movie role, and that he got it like the second day after coming to America to like look into Hollywood. His manager was like, you should look into doing Hollywood movies, and so he got the script for Die Hard, and he was like, I don't want to be typecasted as a villain for the rest of my career. And the rest is history.
And then he wasn't. He got to be a dickless angel in Dogma. He's the Metatron.
I don't know if I would say that he was ever typecast, but he definitely played villains well.
He has, and it has something to do with just kind of his demeanor and the sound of his voice. It's vaguely threatening in a way.
Yeah, I mean, like, he had to have some sort of realistic expectations. Like, who did you think you were going to be cast as? Like, the love interest?
You certainly weren't going to be Liam Neeson's dumb daughter's dad.
The gay best friend. The bakery owner in the small town.
Just imagine the Liam Neeson, that little monologue, I will find you and I will kill you, but said by Alan Rickman.
That'd be fun.
It would actually be kind of like hearing Rowan Atkinson say it. Like, it would be about that silly.
Hello, I'm going to come and get your daughter back for me.
We're sorry for anybody in the East End of London.
We're sorry, but you know what you sound like.
Okay. I want to know what else is happening on this little camping trip.
The camping trip. I mean, should they also have their own? They're going to have all sorts of like camping tropes.
They have time for a couple. In particular, some kind of traveling camping trope, because it's going to be almost like a montage when they're presented, because they will stop, pick up, camp, and move. Stop, pick up, camp, and move. Because they're kind of, if anything, it's a deliberate misdirection where they're trying to ping the towers in a way at various locations and keep everybody guessing as to where they are.
Oh, they spell out a rude word with GPS pings?
Oh, yeah. I actually, now that I think about it, it makes perfect sense that Abaddon would have technology that is actively scanning the island for the NFTs, using the ones that they have to get like resonant energy traces or some kind of radiation tracking ping from the other ones, So there will be like a map of known last locations. And I don't think Craig would do it, but I do think Stan would absolutely try to spell out like a small phrase.
Like up yours.
Is that long enough, or would he say something a little bit more elaborate? Remember, Stan is a staunch New Yorker. I'll bet you he would try to spell "go fuck yourself."
But he only got the go F done. Well, I was gonna say go fuck yourself.
Is that how far he got before they got caught?
I don't know how much I'm in. I don't know how big the letters that you're envisioning are versus how long it would take to cover that ground. I don't know.
That's a good point. They probably only have the better part of an afternoon to do this.
But they have to get some poison ivy. They have to...
Are either of them even a candidate for poison ivy? One is a teddy bear and one is a computer.
That's true.
Maybe that's the joke. The teddy bear somehow gets poison ivy and Craig has to be like, I don't understand how that's possible.
I was trying to think of some scene where they're like fishing.
Oh, and Stan pulls up a boot and it happens to be the other boot because one of the NFTs is a boot.
Well, that would be mildly interesting.
It's the one that Columbo threw away. One more camping trope. Stan's got a walking stick. Does he start singing some kind of annoying trail song? My immediate instinct when you say singing is he like sings some sort of like outdated, now when you look back in history, kind of I guess racially insensitive sort of anthem. Ooh, that's dangerous. I was just thinking that he was basically doing Donkey and Shrek.
Oh, just an annoying song, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, thanks for volunteering. You're Stan's voice after all.
That's true.
So anything you want him to sing, you're going to have to make that happen yourself.
I guess kind of a gray area blur appropriation, and I say that's just singing a song in somebody else's accent.
Well, I mean, I think we both tacitly disapprove of it, but Stan's going to do it anyway. Yeah. We're not the boss of him. So yeah, we don't condone Stan's behavior. He is out of control. It's the pills.
Did I tell you about a song that I submitted to Comedy Bang Bang?
No, tell me about it.
So I don't know if they do it anymore, but Comedy Bang, I think they switched it up. But Comedy Bang Bang, the podcast, used to take like listener submissions for the opening music. And so I wrote a song, which I sang with like a Caribbean patois. And then Michael Ian Black, who was a guest on the show, said that he loved how upbeat it was, but Scott Aukerman, the host, kind of like you could tell was like rolling his eyes and tugging on his collar and was like, I don't know, that seems a bit like cultural appropriation to me. And that was the review. But
you did make it in.
I made it in. Their producer, just I'm going to assume his producer was a millennial who's more sensitive to those things, so that seems like approval to me.
Pretty funny though.
Plus, Scott Aukerman is the one that loves to go around making fun, or not, I mean, he's making fun of, but he does an impression of Adrian Brody screaming Rasta lines on SNL. So Scott Aukerman is Mr. Cultural Appropriation. Whatever.
Is it still cultural appropriation if you're actually making fun of somebody
it's not.
who was doing the cultural appropriation? It's once removed. Does it? How many times does it? How many degrees of separation does it require before it's a joke again?
I guess 6.
How many degrees of separation do we have with Stan? First of all, he's a fictional entity. He wouldn't, lay off even if we told him to. We can't fire him because he's not real.
I mean, those 3 I think are good.
Also, he's a teddy bear, so he's not human. Your culture doesn't. He's not human.
If you look at his tag, it also says made in St. Martin's and Kitts.
Which is weird because he's definitely from the outside. Or at least animated by it. Because only the outside can make that kind of stuff happen. So he's not... Is it really... He's not even from this reality in a sense.
Well, that's his explanation. No, the tag was made in the Caribbean.
This body was made in the Caribbean. Whatever happens to be inhabiting it was not.
Whatever. We will see where this goes. He sings a song.
Yeah, and it annoys Craig. Maybe for the exact same reason as we're slightly hesitant to have him do it. That's our out. That's our final degree of separation, is that Craig disapproves.
I've never heard Craig disapprove of anything.
Craig disapproves of stuff Stan does all the time.
Well, I guess that's true. Never mind.
They don't like each other.
I don't know what I'm saying.
I don't know what you're saying. Okay, so we've got the slightly insensitive, or at least not subtle enough hiking song. That's our 3 camping tropes, I guess. They had their lean-to with their marshmallow scene. They had somehow Stan got poison ivy. So I suppose the hiking scene should involve him having like little patches of white cream
on his fur.
Yeah, just on his little dumb teddy bear body. And that means we can now go to Straight Woman and Plato. What are they doing? Or are they strategizing? Are they actually wasting all of their time trying to come up with a new strategy and hoping that Craig and Stan will be able to keep everybody else busy long enough for them to implement it?
Like, there's a part of me that wants to say they assume that everything... There's a part of me that wants to say that they can see that things are not going to shake out well, so they've just kind of like holed up and they're on vacation now.
Oh, they've given up.
But I also don't want them. I also don't think that is within their character.
No, they are proactive. They're active protagonists. It's Tucker and Todd who are the passive protagonists. We don't really have a goal, but these guys do. So I think that they probably would actually be trying to scramble together a new plan in the hopes that Stan and Craig will keep the opposition busy long enough for them to come up with a plan and implement it. And this time, Tucker and Todd don't factor into the plan at all. They kind of assume correctly that we've been captured and are no longer pieces on the board.
Oh, that's great, but we're going to crash their plan.
Yeah, probably.
because they didn't involve us in the plan. They don't know where we are in relation to where they're going to be, and we accidentally end up at the place where they intend to execute their plan, and we fuck it up for them.
Oh yeah, we're definitely going to lure the bad guys along with us to it. Yeah, so once again, we will foil their plans.
Oh, I like that. As they're about to like put in their, this is not specifically the scenario, but just in terms of laying the scene, they're about to put in their like last bit of code into the terminal or whatever, and we crash through the doors like, "Hey guys, what are you doing here?" And you can hear like the rumble of footsteps as all the bad guys are heading toward us, and they're like, "Oh yeah,
that's a record screech." Uh-oh. Yeah, that's probably how it'll play out anyways. And I have a feeling that that's one of the reasons why we haven't had our knees broken, is the intention is to eventually set us loose so that we'll just kind of that we'll eventually magoo our way right back to our friends.
So I guess over the course of this we are still, I think we were still tied up in their headquarters though, right?
Oh yeah, we're tied to a metal chair. So I think ankles and wrists.
I think we need to do a couple things, which is obviously get free and start heading towards wherever the Plato and Straight Woman are going to be. But we also, I think we should in some way, because those guys at the headquarters are going to obviously have been in touch with whatever lieutenants of Abaddon, of Basilbub. But I guess we need some way to initiate some of those higher like up boss characters making their way here.
I do have a plan for our sort of escape too.
Okay.
I hope you don't mind, but we're going to make fun of the machine.
Like the machine?
Like Bert Kreischer.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to at the shift change, because there's going to be the shift change. So when the new guys come in, we're going to start joking with them and think that we're ingratiating ourselves to them, and they're going to play along. The only difference is they're not actually on our team. So they're gonna eventually like we'll joke enough and be like, "Oh man, my feet are sore," and so they'll loosen our ankle restraints and stuff, and eventually we'll be walking around and we'll be like, "Hey, you guys thirsty?" And then we'll like go make everybody a drink, and eventually they will let us go because that's part of the lure. We're going to take them right to our friends. But I really want to make fun of this kind of part of the series of events detailed in the machine about how he just like progressively made friends with these Russians.
So we do something when these guys show up. We do some specific behavior or activity, some cultural gesture or whatever that immediately ingratiates us. They're like, "Wow, these guys are cool."
Yeah, They need to be Russian, of course, and we probably need to say something that we don't understand in Russian, which will earn us a nickname that is comparable.
I mean, is it a subtle nod to the machine when we say that we work with cats?
Yeah. Yes.
And they're like, wow. Oh, do we tell them that we are, who are the guys in Las Vegas? Siegfried and Roy?
Oh, I like that. We work with cats, yeah.
And so we start telling them all these great tales.
And yeah. So we think we've become good friends with them, and eventually we basically get Stockholm syndrome. So even though we've been let off the leash, we're just like, we walk right out the door, and then we come back with like a drink order or like a pizza.
Yeah.
So we could have escaped. We went right out the front door. We come back with the pizza.
Did they have a whole thing where they come and they find our shackles on the chair or whatever, and they flip out, and we come in as they're flipping out, and they all laugh, and we all cheers together?
Yeah, I like that.
Does this need another montage? We're having a slumber party with these guys.
Yeah, I think that would be a great opportunity for a montage. We knock glasses together and stuff, and we're like, hey, we're having fun.
Painting each other's nails and whatnot.
Braiding each other's hair. Putting in pigtails.
Yeah, it's the whole Sandra D scene.
And then of course this is a lulling tactic, and that's our opportunity we take that opportunity to like leave eventually.
Is it a thing where at one point we're kind of nervously looking around like, guys, I really like hate to break up the great time, but we got to go. And they're all disappointed and their eyes are kind of like misty and watery, and they're like, you guys are leaving? And we're like, yeah, we made plans, and it's a whole thing. And they're like, well, can we come too? And we're like, oh yeah, totally. You guys can come. And we're all excited. Like, yay. We're off on a best friends adventure.
I like that better. Not we didn't unwittingly lure them to our friends. We invited them. Yeah. you colossal fucking idiots. Yeah, we brought them to our friends. Isn't that great? Now we're all going to be together.
And hey, guys, they're in here.
Yeah, and then we get re-imprisoned.
They all run in with guns. Cut to the next scene. We're all bound up and gagged, and they seem so friendly.
Yeah, we're like, I don't get it. He even put these braids in my hair. He brushed my teeth.
We had a cuddle puddle.
We made plans to go to Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
Okay, so we lead after we befriend them and they give us our nicknames and stuff. We lead them directly to Plato and Straight Woman. Stan and Craig are still at large, but Plato and Straight Woman have their plan at this point and have been in communication with Stan and Craig, because Craig is a communication device. So they have an established meeting position, and that happens to be right where we just led a small battalion.
Oh, did we leave the small battalion to Gary Vaynerchuk's restaurant? I forgot we're working that in. Should that be presented earlier?
I forgot about that too.
Is that just part of the general like ambiance of the island, or should we make him a bit more of a important character? Because I did think that was funny.
If you think we can fit him in with the time we have, then yes. Otherwise, for now, ambiance.
I can't really, unless there's like the place that we were going to meet up, or where Straight Woman told Craig and Stan to meet them was at the restaurant, and there's a whole
sure, of course,
leaf of cannoli.
I mean, it's better than telling them to meet them, at the tree stump. The restaurant is as good a place as any to meet.
Oh, is that how they trick us out of giving them the NFTs? Is Gary Vaynerchuk requires you to give NFTs to get in, so we give them our 6th, and then now they have all 12?
I don't think we're quite that stupid.
Okay.
We're pretty bad. We would lead a Russian gang right back to our friends.
We did that.
But we know we're not supposed to give up the NFTs. Besides, Craig has them, and he would just say that's not happening.
Precisely. Okay, yeah.
Oh, by the way, this is the episode where Craig gets his remodeling because he's going to get dismantled.
Ooh. Does he get dismantled? So
he has the NFTs up in his box, which means somebody's going to knock on him with a crowbar.
Yeah, bust him open. And says a corny line like, I hate to pry.
I mean, I think that's mandatory. That line specifically, probably.
With the crowbar, yeah.
Naturally, Craig is going to need a very sad kind of digitized sounding death scream.
Yeah, I can imagine it. I can't do it.
Of course, his entire identity is just on like a thumb drive, so we can pull it out and put him in something new.
It's about time.
So if anything, his death scream is actually just Craig being a bit of a drama queen.
Oh, sir.
Yeah, you don't really have to ham it up, Craig. We know that's just like a shell. He is a hermit crab.
He kind of teehees. So I guess did Craig and Stan come and get caught at the point where we led all the Russians through? Are we all still stuck at that place, or did they took us all?
Yes,
to the
we're still in the restaurant, because that's we magooed our way there. Like the whatever reality bending powers of luck we have led us directly to the restaurant where Straight Woman and Plato are waiting to meet Craig and Stan. So they're very surprised to see us. And they're even more surprised to see all of these armed thugs that we are convinced are our best pals until we are once again tied to a metal chair. I really didn't see this coming. I'm shocked.
I like that. I gotta admit, I really didn't see this coming.
That is going to earn us just a look of disgust from Straight Woman. Just like a sneer and a scoff.
And then we're all this defensive, like, hey, your plan failed too.
Twice. You guys are the idiots.
Yeah, exactly. Looks to me like you guys' score it's 2-2 or whatever, 2-0.
Yeah, your guys' plan failed twice. No mention at all that both times was entirely because of our direct involvement.
Yeah,
I like that. We're a foil for the real protagonists.
I guess during that bickering, when we're all tied up, that's when Lieutenant would step through.
Actually, I've been saving her.
Okay.
Craig and Stan are going to arrive now. The windows are all tinted, so they can't exactly see that this place is full of, armed guards and stuff. So they walk in, they expect a really quiet, just like an almost empty restaurant. After all, they've read the reviews on Yelp, and nobody eats here. So they're going to walk in, and they're going to freeze when they see the scene. And just as they turn to leave, guess who's darkening the doorway and blocking their exit?
Ooh.
Annabelle and a whole bunch of goddamn pirates.
As the faint accordion theme strikes up.
Naturally. And it turns out that it's actually Craig's voice box playing the music. You don't have to do that every time, Craig.
Yeah, I like that. I do like that line. Craig, you don't have to do that every time. And also, as they're coming through the door, that's the line they're giving is, don't worry, I read the Yelp reviews. Nobody eats here. That's the line.
Yeah. Obviously. Stan and Craig are like, are you sure this is safe? Don't worry, I read the Yelp reviews. Nobody eats here. So they walk in, the place is full of Russians. And now the actual machine is in. And they're all like, the machine.
I like the Russians, they're all just brawlers. Nobody, I don't know. I wasn't imagining everybody with guns. These are all just like Russian, like gang brawlers. But when they hold their arms up into fisticuffs position, it makes a loading a gun sound.
Oh, they brace for a fist fight. They go into that ye old boxer pose,
and it goes.
The one you'd see in old fashioned art with men with really thick mustaches.
Yeah,
and somebody's just cocked a gun.
Yeah,
some of them probably do have pistols though. Be pretty weird for these guys to be totally disarmed.
You got to be properly Slavic.
Yeah, some of them have Kalashnikovs. Some of them are armed with vodka bottles. Okay, so now they have everybody, and Annabelle shows up with actually heavily armed pirates. They have some like Abaddon space age rifles and stuff, like real guns, projected energy weapons, and crazy laser stuff.
And in the door, she's doing, because I believe she has a French accent, if I recall correctly.
Yes, she does.
She's coming in the door and she's like, "Ooh, he's causing all the trouble in here," kind of thing. And she sees us and it's just a withering look of, you two.
Yeah, I mean, because they I assume she was just given like coordinates to go to pick up the NFTs, because we were lured out there, or rather we were allowed to go so that we could lead the bad guys directly to our friends and the NFTs. But I doubt that anybody briefed Annabelle on the fact that Tucker and Todd were present, because once again, they are beneath notice. So she can be legitimately surprised to see us, even though she knows more or less that she's here to kidnap people and collect the NFTs. Oh, you two.
These are the prisoners that you were talking about?
And now it's time for Todd to have hearts for eyes.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Pirate Mommy is here. Oh, Todd, you're breaking my balls.
His whole body goes stiff.
Oh, yeah, he even makes that sound effect as he kind of stiffens up.
That stiffens up and then falls over and slightly rattles back and forth like a...
Oh, no, he doesn't fall over, man. I think he stands erect.
Oh, yeah?
He's just like... If anything, he was slouching before. He's tied to a chair, but he still manages to stand up when Annabelle enters the room.
I'm thinking of a scene, and I think it's Bambi when the skunk gets Twitter-pated. He goes stiff as a board, and then he like tips over and rolls. It's like tumbles us several times.
Man, it had been more than 20 years. So I had actually managed to completely remove Twitter-pated from my vocabulary and from my memories. And now I have to start that process all over again. It's back. It's in there. I guess it's just going to stay. Todd gets Twitter-pated.
It got stuck in my head when I was a preteen and a teenager, because girls my age thought it was cute that I knew that word and could use it. And so it just got lodged there.
It was almost tactical.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of tactical vocabulary that I absorbed through my teens.
Yeah, I believe it. It's taken on an entirely new context now in this age of Twitter, though.
I imagine.
Anyway, Todd gets Twitter-pated. Now is when we get taken back to the headquarters. They're not going to try to disassemble Craig here in the restaurant. So now we're going to be hauled off, probably tossed into the back of some kind of armored truck or something in much more effective handcuffs, all of us, except we're going to be like 2 of us each. Our teams are all going to be separated again into different trucks. So we're not all kept together. So now we have one last opportunity for each team of 2 to have a brief interaction before we return to the enemy headquarters.
Did you say they're in separate trucks?
Yes. Tucker and Todd are in one truck. Stan and Craig are in one truck. Straight Woman and Plato are in one truck. We're all secured, and there's no escaping. We're going to the bad guys' headquarters. But there's an opportunity for each of us to have a very brief interaction with our pairs as we commiserate our defeat, basically.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out, would it be a thing where, whether it's split screen or simply hopping back and forth, there's like a clear opposites and contrasting. There's like a scene of like calm serenity in one truck and then chaos in the other.
I would be perfectly happy with a 3-way split screen, and both Tucker and Todd and Plato and Straight Woman both at the same time say, those fucking idiots screwed this whole thing.
I like that, yeah.
And then Stan and Craig are like, oh man, I left all the marshmallows in the restaurant.
Oh yeah, they're just camping under each other still.
Yeah, they're just along for the ride. They're disappointed. But yeah, Plato and Straight Woman and Tucker and Todd are both reaching the same conclusion that it's the other pair that are completely at fault for the entire catastrophe of both plans. So 2 of them, 2 of those trucks, since they're saying the same thing, they can go off at the same time. And then it can kind of focus on Craig and Stan, and Stan's just like, oh man, I left all the marshmallows in the restaurant. So he just kind of shifts uncomfortably and probably has to reapply some of his poison ivy cream.
And do you know, where are they heading to?
They are heading back to the bad guys' base on the island, where all the enemy NFTs are. They're now all going to come together.
Did we start off fairly close to the mountain, and this entire time we've been getting increasingly farther and farther away from it? Like with every turn?
The dumpster is on the far end of the island away from the mountain. So
is the headquarters in the mountain? Sorry, I was just
the headquarters is. We'll say the headquarters is at the base of the mountain.
Okay.
On one side, the opposite side from which our original intended drop zone is.
Right. Okay, I get it.
So we're going to be back at the mountain, real close, at the bad guy's base. That's where they're keeping the NFTs in like a safe vault. We're gonna go back to our interrogation room.
Have they at this point extracted the NFTs from Craig? Is he all dismantled?
No, we're going to be. Do you remember that? Do you remember when we tossed one of the not child assassins right down a duct?
Yeah.
These trucks are gonna do the same thing to us in pairs. There's like a little chute on the side of the building wall, and each truck is going to pull up to it and then like tip and flip us out into the chute 2 by 2, and then we're all going to land and fall on each other in the interrogation room, which will soon have Annabelle's thugs pile in, one of whom has a crowbar. So we're actually going to do a Walking Dead scene where Craig gets murdered right in front of everybody. So yeah, he's going to be disassembled with a crowbar right in front of us. And then we actually get to turn it into a moment of levity. Like, it looks like a grisly, terrible scene. And then we tell Craig that he doesn't have to be such a drama queen. And then we pull out his USB stick because that's the real Craig. And he's just kind of hee-hee.
Does the USB stick goes hee-hee?
Yeah, why not? Stan is the one who goes and pulls the USB stick out. First Stan is quite upset because, I mean, he is still kind of personalized this talking computer, even though like the identity of it is quite fine. It's removable.
Yeah, that's what he's been used to, though. And
so he's attached it to his memories. That's Craig. So he's quite upset at first, and then he kind of remembers that that's not Craig. That's just like his hermit crab shell. So he's like, you don't have to be such a drama queen. And he pulls the USB stick out and he because it tickles, I guess.
And then it cuts, and maybe it sounds, we hear the sound of us putting a USB in something, and then it cuts to black, and then it's opening up from Craig's perspective as he's opening his eyes. He's looking around from the new body that he's in, and it's something like extremely cumbersome and like awful and awkward and huge. And he's like, "What the fuck, you guys?" And we're like laughing.
He doesn't have his new body yet. That's a start of next season kind of thing.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, Stan gets to just kind of pocket it. The alternative is he gets to go in the butt plug USB holder, if you remember that. I don't think we need to do that again. So he just goes in Stan probably has a belly pouch, so he just goes in the pocket.
Do we do that as like an inside joke then? We hand him to Stan, and as we're handing him, Craig's screaming, "No!" And Stan says like, "Don't worry, I've
not again.
I've grown."
Yeah, we're not doing that again. It was never a comfortable fit for either of us. Because Stan still had to wear it. So he just puts him in the belly pouch. Because the end conclusion of this is Tucker and Todd are trapped in the outside. I think Plato and Straight Woman, Stan and Craig are going to get away.
Everybody else gets away?
Everybody else but Tucker and Todd get away. And so the very beginning of the season opener next time would be Craig opening his eyes. I think that would be a perfect start to the next episode.
Craig opening his eyes as Plato, Straight Woman, and Stan are like running on the lam or whatever.
Yeah, they're bringing him back online. They're probably living on the road, on the move.
But Tucker and Todd are not there.
No, they're not there.
Okay, good. I think I get that. Did you specifically describe the scene in which that occurs? They got the stuff out of Craig.
Yeah, they've dismantled Craig. They now have all the NFTs. They are taking all 12 of them to Mount Poon. Our intention was to use the mountain to destroy them. They're going to use the mountain to kind of unify them into the mommy myth, all into one. The one NFT to rule them all.
The one thing.
Yeah, so they're going to turn them into the NFT, which kind of turns the mountain itself into the gaping hole through which the outside starts pouring into our reality.
When you put all together the not finite tokens, they turn into the now finite token.
Yeah. Welcome to infinity.
Yeah.
because it's going to turn out that each one of them is touched with a little bit of outside juice, and now it's going to reach a critical mass.
Yeah, and I'm very much envisioning something similar to the Shadowlands cinematic.
Oh, you mean the way the sky split open?
Yeah, and immediately is like...
Yeah, only it's going to be a mountain that does it. So it's going to be bottom up instead of top down.
Oh, I like that. That's great, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be very... Because in that cinematic, like the sky is not localized, right? That's a sky over a massive region of the planet.
Yeah.
This will be very localized at first, but it will start to spread. It's basically going to create like a reality warping tumor that's going to start spreading. I expect weird blue glowing veins and arteries to start spreading out of it and spreading the contagion.
Because are you imagining it's funneling out of the sky down into the ground, or it's funneling out of the ground down into a void?
It's funneling directly up out of Mount Poon. Mount Poon is now this volcano that is the source of all crypto is now going to be the source of just fucking entropy.
Yeah.
So they use a ritual to combine all the NFTs into they do it all full Voltron. They assemble them.
Oh, and then they drop reverby,
it. Yeah.
There's a reverby echo of Elrond Hubbard like cackling. Yeah, and it's all echoey in a large space, and then he like appears in the room and like kind of like does a flourish, and then the vent opens up.
Yeah, they use the newly assembled NFTs to kind of like rip kind of like a little butthole in reality.
That was a good cackle. That was chilling.
Okay.
Green Goblin.
Yeah, that's kind of the energy I was going for. So they rip open this void, this tear, and Elrond, now, thanks to the power of the NFTs, he is forcibly reassembled just as they have been, and he's drawn back out of the outside, but the tear won't close.
Do we do a subversion of like a nightmare situation in which all the crazy crescendo music is going on and the wind is whipping everybody's hair and debris around, and Elrond is there, and one of the cultists like kneels down and starts kissing his finger or whatever, or his ring or whatever, and the music cuts off and it becomes very awkward, and Elrond is doing that like, stop it, I don't like it when you do that.
I've told you before.
Yeah.
This guy's done this before. He's been reported to HR like 7 times.
That would be funny if Elrond is threatening to report him to HR again.
This will be the last time, Thomas.
That's sexual harassment, and we will not have this in our workplace.
We are professionals.
Anyways, turns back to doing something like catastrophically evil.
Yeah. Anyways, where were we? And then they try to close the tear, but it won't close. And in fact, the tear sucks the combined NFTs right out of their hands and into the tear.
Ooh, I like that.
So they're no longer even on this plane. They're now in the outside. So the idea there is that the thing we need to close that tear is now inside of it. Then the tear that's basically floating in the air at the mouth of this volcano falls in, because it's not bound by location. So it falls into the kind of the belly of the volcano, and then it causes it to erupt.
Are we presumably going to have to hunt them down to reclose the wound?
Yeah, that is my idea.
I think that works.
So yeah, now Mount Poon is erupting. The crypto is all outside corrupted, so it's not crypto anymore. It's now corrupto currency.
I like that.
Yeah. So that liquid oozing corrupto currency is now starting to flood out of the mouth of this volcano and is quickly going to threaten the entire island. So the bad guys are all now in full red alert. They're evacuating. They're not evacuating any of the civilians from the island or anything, of course. And they're definitely not going to try and save that restaurant. It's a failure.
Yeah, it's a write-off.
Yeah. The dumpster, they don't care. Annabelle probably takes that airship, though.
Oh, of course.
She has the means. She probably has like a ship with like the claw game. She has like a claw that just comes out the bottom of her ship and picks it up.
Well, wouldn't she also recognize it?
Yes.
And she's like, I know who this belongs to. I've got...
And I know the couple of idiots who definitely trashed it. Which is why Annabelle is going to be the one who actually gives Tucker and Todd the push so that they get eaten by the goop.
Are we going to say... Oh, I like that, yeah. Oh, does she give them like an actual kick?
Yeah, something like that. Maybe this is Sparta.
When... Oh, so when somebody is impacted or affected by the corruption, do we say that they got corrupted, or do we say that they got encrypted?
They probably... I'm not sure which, if any, we would say. Do we... I guess we do kind of need a term for it, and we need to decide how consistent it will be. But, I mean, since it's the outside... It's totally random as to what happens to you when you get exposed to this stuff.
They went to the moon.
Like, it can transport you to another place or time. It can transform you into like a cheese and bacon sandwich. It can disintegrate you into a fine powder that's like pure methamphetamine. It can do just about anything.
Because it's the outside.
Yeah, it doesn't obey those kinds of rules. So whatever, it just like... Depending on what you're even thinking about might influence what happens. But everybody's escaping.
They got evicted.
Yeah, everybody is escaping. The bad guys are no longer concerning themselves with us. They're focusing on getting the hell out of there so they don't do anything to inhibit our escape.
Yeah.
So, Stan and the USB stick. Plato, straight woman is carrying Stan. Because Stan's got stupid little teddy bear legs. He's not running for it. He's carrying the USB stick. Straight woman's carrying him. Plato's running. He's leading the troop. They think we're right behind them. Annabelle gets even with us and kicks us into the flood and shuts the door. Some door in the facility as we're trying to exit. I'm going to assume like there's a mountain path that leads right into like the back door of the bad guy base, and we need to go out the front door. Yeah. So she basically kicks us into the sludge and then shuts the door, and then she legs it out of there, goes and gets the airship and gets out of there. So, but yeah, Annabelle kicks us in. She's the one who defeats us.
And is that kind of like the last scene of this episode? The cliffhanger is like our fingers disappearing as we sink down into the goo?
Yeah, and I think that's another opportunity to do the Terminator thumbs up.
But it's a thumbs down?
Yeah, obvious. Definitely a thumbs down. Just and since Todd has the longer arms, he probably gets to do it much longer. So the boys get sucked in. Tragic music plays. Everybody else kind of gets out, and they stop when they get outside of the building proper, out the front side, and they're like, "Wait, where are the boys? I thought they were right behind me." And then just then, like the building itself starts to collapse and fizzle, and they're like, no time, we gotta go, we can't talk about this anymore.
Are we doing a clever word thing where it's like they go, wait, where are the boys? I think they're still inside. Everything crumbles. Plato says very gravely, hopefully they got outside. Or no, they're outside.
Hopefully they got outside. I like that. That is some foreshadowing. That's very, very unsubtle. Throw it at the audience like a brick. Okay, so is that the last we see of us, or is there some kind of post-credit scene where it's actually Tucker and Todd floating around in the void of the outside, being like, "I guess this is me now."
I mean, that could be a Tucker. Yeah, I mean that could be a post-credit sequence. Yeah, that works. I was gonna say you just see our bodies floating around anti-gravity over the credits.
Yeah, I'm okay with that, so long as we've got the outside down background in there. Maybe it plays the outside music.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so everybody escapes the island. Everybody basically just runs for it. Maybe it will be left vague as to exactly how Straight Woman and Plato and Stan get off the island, because right now they have no way. Maybe they just find a rowboat. I mean, this is a tourist destination. There are still boats.
Yeah, I think we don't even see that far. I think we see them get away and they're able to make that like observation or say that line. And I think that is where it would cut. And then some imagination can be used to make up the distance in between. And it can either catch up with them.
Well, yeah, we don't have to be explicit that they get off. We can just be implicit. They're If there are as many ways to get off the island as there are to get onto it.
And I mean, cutting forward in time always just provides an opportunity to make a joke about what happened in the interim anyways.
Everybody looks at each other all shifty-eyed. We don't talk about it. Yeah. We promised we wouldn't talk about Canada.
Yeah, Plato hasn't been the same since. It cuts to Plato, and he's like in totally different clothes. He shaved his hair.
He's got a mohawk, and he's got like a barcode on his head. Yeah. Just tattooed on the side there. He's gone full cyberpunk.
It's all he's all dressed as his clothes is all like patches and studs.
I mean, technically the beginning of the next season is going to be kind of post-apocalyptic in some places. So we can go full like cyberpunk and dystopian with a lot of it. And Plato's kind of made for it. Because I mean he's almost as cybernetic as Annabelle is.
True. I mean they probably know the same guy.
Yeah, they probably have the same cyberware surgeon.
Who's like a John Hurt kind of character. A grizzled old man.
Yeah, yet he's somehow a savant and he's fully learned, he's fully tuned in on all the newest stuff. But he's a grizzled, world-weary old guy. Definitely played by Harrison Ford or something.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Harrison Ford is really good now at playing the world-weary old guy.
I would love to see Harrison Ford as a side character. He always has to
be a
leading role.
Maybe he should be Decker, because from his own favorite cyberpunk movie.
What is that? Blade Runner?
Yes. Blade Runner was an excellent cyberpunk movie.
I think most people consider it the best.
Of all the cyberpunk movies, it probably is. Matrix is probably the next one. And yes, the Matrix is still cyberpunk, even though they spend most of the time in the simulation.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody gets off the island. We two are flung into the outside. Elrond is resurrected and is more powerful than ever. In fact, he now has, like, powers.
Yeah.
Before he was just a guy, but now he's all imbued with the outside powers.
Well, he's really been through it.
And the more of the outside that leaks into our reality, the more powerful he gets.
That makes sense.
Which means if we close the tear, he'll lose his powers. So that's the only way to beat him. Sorry, everybody. I spoiled it, I guess.
Well, I'm looking forward to all of the evil plans that he will have time to manifest in the time that it takes us to find the NFTs to close the portals, and the grand scheme that we'll be able to interrupt therefore.
And it's going to be an opportunity for us to start exploring the outside more.
Well, I think we're going to meet some. I think we might meet the aliens that you were talking about.
Yeah, I haven't written up the part about native life forms, or if there even are any, or if anything that we find there actually just comes from like other material realities.
Well, I think at one point, didn't we? We'll have to dig into everything, and now we're just discussing. We finished that story. Now we're just discussing ancillary things.
Yeah, that story's over. We're currently floating during the end credits. While we talk over it.
Didn't we talk about a Bermuda Triangle, a play on the Bermuda Triangle that had something to do with the outside?
Oh, probably. I'm sure that some component of my write-up of the outside applies to something like the Bermuda Triangle. Weird, unexplained occurrences definitely involve echoes from the outside. So the Bermuda Triangle, that's definitely the outside. Goblin sharks, those are from the outside for sure. The anglerfish, those deep sea ugly things, anglerfish, goblin sharks, those are all mutated by the outside for sure. Those can't possibly be natural.
Anything that lives below 60 meters.
Yeah, those things are horrifying.
How crazy? I've never thought about that, but how crazy would it be if they just found a portal to another dimension undersea, and that's where all those things got blooped out of?
Deep in the Mariana Trench?
Yeah.
There's some kind of like just a shimmering rift like in Pacific Rim. They've already made a movie about this premise. We can't do it.
Okay,
I will have to write up more on the outside. I haven't yet decided if it has real native life forms or if other things just kind of wind up being refugees there and kind of get mutated by it until they might as well be native.
Please do. I'm looking forward to it. And we need some enemy designs for our outside level, so
I will think about that as well. Also, eldritch abominations and other Lovecraftian things, the outside is definitely responsible for that.
Of course.
Columbo goes there and he's like, smells like home.
Would he have? I can't remember the proper name of the language, the real yay or whatever.
Cthulhu Fhtagn. I don't know what the name of the language was either. I don't know if he was ever had one.
If he was able to mutter something like, "Oh, I love the smell of,"
in the morning.
Yeah.
Smells like victory. Because he's actually he's now in Full Metal Jacket. That was Full Metal Jacket, right?
I think that was Platoon. Napalm in the Morning.
Oh, shows how much I know.
That was Apocalypse Now. We don't know fucking anything.
No, I knew it was one of those. But in my mind, they blur into each other because of a lot of the themes are really closely associated.
I think I agree. And I also think that we should have some, since we're going to be in this like new, like resetting the table kind of situation, we could do some Heart of Darkness motifs of like, we can do some Apocalypse Now stuff. We can run into some general who was sent into the outside years ago to gain control of some section and lost his mind as he was like in exile or whatever.
Oh yeah. There's lots of opportunity to encounter people who have disappeared there, or like mythological figures, all kinds of stuff.
People who have faked their own death.
Yeah, that's probably the single best place you could ever drop off the grid.
Jeffrey Epstein is there.
Bill Cosby was there once.
He's the only person who has successfully left.
Yeah, he comes and goes, which suggests to me that he might be not a person, but an entity.
That's curious.
Because Columbo comes and goes.
Okay, here we are, crossing over the line. Bill Cosby comes and goes, and you don't even know.
Oh, I mean, I set us up for that. I should have known better. He really does come and go.
That expression, whoever came up with the expression "come and go" and then decided that we could sexualize it, they doomed language.
Yeah, I think that's the end of it. Language it's all downhill from here.
Essentially. Anyways, it's all down here from the end of this episode.
It's all downhill from here. I think we're done. We're now theory crafting for the next season.
We are doing that, which means that this is the end of this season, which means that we have made 39 episodes of the Tucker and Todd cast, and we're 3/4 of the way through our first year, everybody.
30 more and we'll be at the magic number.
Oh my God. Nice. Almost the sex number.
Nice. Well, thank you everyone who might tune in.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Thanks for coming along on this journey. Keep tucking your Todd.
Yeah.
Should our catchphrase be fuck catchphrases or fuck podcasts or something like that?
Fuck catchphrases. We don't want to fuck podcasts. That's going to awaken the ghost of Bob Saget because he's going to tell us not to. Don't fuck podcasts. You get a rash.
Have we had any? Did we? I think we mentioned it in the chat, but we haven't had any time to talk about the Neil Young thing, have we?
No.
I think I did mention it, saying how many are. Oh yeah, because you talked about scruples and money and all those sorts of things. You heard that Joni Mitchell backed him up?
I did not.
Oh, so Joni Mitchell said the same thing. She said, I'm with Neil Young, take my music off. And that is cool. I was telling my mom, I said, I think that's cool because Joni Mitchell actually represents something to people. Like Neil Young has had his day. Like people who care about Neil Young are the same age as Neil Young. And
yeah, they don't use Spotify.
No, but I think Joni Mitchell still represents a strong, like, feminine hero character to a lot of people, even our age. So I think that's cool, but it's still nowhere near enough. But Spotify did say that they would start addressing it, so it's something.
Well, yeah, they're starting to see their bottom line slip, so that is good.
Yeah, kind of cool. It's just because I think in my understanding is that artists don't really make money from Spotify, so I don't think anybody's really worried about money. But I think it's free marketing for them, essentially.
Yeah, it's if they don't make money from it, it is a loss leader in that it causes them to make more money from other sources through increased exposure and marketing.
Right.
And through them, Spotify makes money. So if they leave, Spotify has fewer listeners, etc.
Of course.
So Spotify is incentivized to keep them happy.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. And good luck to you, our noble, brave listeners, and Craig.
As you navigate this life. Anyways.
Yeah, and whatever's outside of it. Good night, everybody. Fuck catchphrases.
Fuck catchphrases. Fuck endings.
Fuck endings. Goodbye.
Bye.
Fuck Tucker. Tucker sucks. And fuck Tucker's friend, Todd.